What's up, guys? My name is Adam, and this is Broke Man Finance. There are 5 successful ETFs that are managed by Ark Invest and Cathie Wood. But how do you know which one to pick? They're all doing so well, and if that's the case, why don't we just pick them all? In this video, I'm going to explain to you, I'm going to touch on each of those ETFs briefly. I'm not going to do a deep dive, but I'm going to touch on each of them briefly, and then I'm going to explain my reasoning for the pick that I eventually made and the strategy that I took to get there. ARK investment ETFs have performed incredible over 2020. I'm talking all of them over 100%. Now, you got to understand, part of that is going to be Cathie Wood's newfound fame. Part of that fame is going to be baked into that share price of those ETFs. That's not necessarily a bad thing if you think about it. It's similar to Berkshire Hathaway. Would Berkshire Hathaway be as well known as it is if it wasn't for Warren Buffett at the helm? Does it make sense? The 5 ETFs are Ark Innovation, Ark Fintech Innovation, Ark Genomics Revolution, Ark Next Generation Internet, and Ark Autonomous Technology and Robotics. The most well-known ETF is the Ark Innovation ETF, ticker symbol ARKK. It is without a doubt their most popular ETF and can be found on Robinhood's top 100 most of the time. It gave a return of 153% in 2020, which is fairly impressive, and focuses on industry-disrupting technology. For instance, we're talking Tesla, Roku, Teladoc. All are major holdings, with Tesla being the most weighted at 10% of the ETF. Ark Next Generation Internet, ticker symbol ARKW, returned 154%, and still most have never heard of it. It was similar in holdings, with Tesla and Roku leading the way. Teladoc was in there too, with Tencent and others, but it focuses on e-commerce, cloud computing, blockchain, etc. In most of the ETFs I'm going to mention, you're going to see a lot of the same companies, just weighted differently. Ark Autonomous Technology and Robotics, ticker symbol ARKQ, they returned 124% this past year. Their holdings, again, include Tesla, leading the way with 12%, along with Alphabet or Google, Class C. Now, before moving on to Ark F, the Fintech Revolution, and for the sake of not being redundant, you can see a recurring theme, I would suppose, at this point. When you look at the holdings in each of these funds, you're going to recognize a lot of popular names, and then at the same time, you're not going to recognize some. Cathie Wood obviously loves her Tesla. But whenever you look at a lot of these companies, you probably, just like I do, have a relationship with a lot of these products and companies. Meaning, I use Google every day. I have a Roku. I use Facebook and Instagram. I've driven Teslas before. I don't have one like Jeremy Financial and all those cool guys, but I've driven them before. I use Square a lot whenever I'm going out and doing things. Point being that all of these companies have products that I can judge that quality of that product because I use them every day, which is the very reason I'm invested in some of these companies. I understand them. I feel like some of these companies are within my circle of competence. With that being said, there's an industry that's not in my circle of competence. I recently started talking about the genomic space. I believe this is an industry that is going to be a game changer across the world and has the potential to change all of our lives for the better. However, when I look at the companies within ARKG, I don't use any of these companies in my everyday life, and they are most certainly not in my circle of competence. I can't go buy their product like I can Tattooed Chef at Walmart to see what all the fuss is about. Sure, I can look at balance sheets and financials and try to come up with a plan on who I believe is going to be successful. But I can't realistically compare one product against another, no matter how much research that I do. So, I picked ARKG to expose my portfolio to this space, that I believe this space is going to be very profitable in the future. I felt like if I found a company that I like the numbers on, that I was exposing my portfolio and myself to more risk because I don't understand that space, although I understand it's got a lot of potential. So I bought ARKG to lessen that exposure to risk, which is kind of the whole point of buying into ETFs to begin with. With ARK's other ETFs, I recognize a lot of those companies and know a lot of those companies very, very well. So much so, I'm invested individually in those companies. I couldn't do that with ARKG. There is no Tesla at the top of that holdings list. So I try to just take a very common sense approach and not get arrogant when you start picking stocks. In a bull market, it is very easy to get cocky and believe that you're the smartest person in the world because everything you have is green. However, be smart enough to know when to pull the reins back and to know your limits. This was my limit. Plus, ARKG was the best #1 performer out of all of Cathie's ETFs with around a 220% return over the past year. Some analysts out there think that ARKG is just completely, the share price is completely unjustified. It's way too high. There's a bubble forming and it's going to pop and all come tumbling down. I can't agree. With the fact that we're just in the beginning stages of this thing, we are in the infancy, in the first inning. So I think there's a lot more room to grow with this share price. I think I'm completely bullish on it, and I'm on the complete opposite spectrum. I think this thing will continue to tick upwards, and we're going to see double-digit returns on this for years. And a lot of you thought the same thing because I put a poll up on YouTube the other day, and the question was, which ARK ETF are you the most bullish on, if any? Of course, ARKK, the most popular, came in #1. I kind of expected that. But I was the most curious about who was going to come in #2. And lo and behold, ARKG. For some of you watching this, your strategy or reasoning may be the complete opposite of mine. The whole reason you pick ARKK or ARKF or whatever because you know some of those companies, so that makes you feel more comfortable betting on that industry, whatever it is. I was kind of the opposite, and that's okay. And in all honesty, I think you're going to continue to see all of ARK Invest's ETFs continue to tick upward. I think there's some great companies in each of these, and they're all going to be successful no matter which one you pick. But I'm betting on ARKG. That's a space I know the least about out of all of these. So I'm going to leave it up to Cathie and lean on her for her expertise and her people's research in picking these companies. But that's all I have. Let me know which ARK Invest, if any, you're the most bullish on in the comments section below. As always, I hope you stay safe. I hope those stocks stay green and everyone takes care.